Imagine standing at the edge of the solar system, looking into a darkness so deep it barely feels real. Out there, the sun no longer looks powerful. It is just a distant light, weak and cold, almost harmless. And moving through that frozen outer silence is a planet so blue, so remote, and so strangely beautiful that at first glance, it doesn't look dangerous at all. If anything, Neptune looks peaceful, a calm blue world, far from the sun, silent, cold, and distant. But that image is completely false, because Neptune is not peaceful, it is not calm, and it is definitely not quiet. In fact, Neptune may be the most violent planet in the entire solar system, not because it is the hottest, not because it is the biggest, not because it dominates everything with gravity like Jupiter. Neptune is terrifying for a different reason. It is a world of impossible winds, violent storms, crushing pressure, extreme cold and atmospheric chaos so intense that it should not behave this way at all. It receives only a tiny fraction of the sunlight Earth gets, and yet it produces the fastest winds ever recorded on any planet in our solar system. That alone should bother you, because when a place that cold, that dark, and that distant is still this violent, you realize something is deeply wrong there. Neptune is the 8th planet from the sun, more than 4.5 billion kilometers away on average. It is so far away that sunlight takes around 4 hours to reach it. On Earth, the sun controls everything. It drives our weather, warms our oceans, lights our sky, and shapes life itself. But on Neptune, sunlight is weak. Daytime there would feel more like a dim, permanent twilight. And yet Neptune is anything but dead. That is what makes it so disturbing. You would expect a world that distant to be quiet. You would imagine a frozen planet with slow weather, low energy, and long stretches of stillness. A place where the cold has subdued everything. Instead, Neptune behaves like a world at war with itself. Its winds can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour, faster than the speed of sound in Earth's atmosphere. Think about that. We are talking about a planet where the air itself can move faster than some of the fastest machines humanity has ever built. On Earth, the strongest hurricanes can tear apart cities and coastlines. But Neptune pushes weather into something even more extreme. Its storms are not just powerful, they feel unnatural. A planet this far from the sun should not be able to generate this level of atmospheric violence. And that mystery is one of the reasons Neptune is so unsettling. Where does that energy come from? Part of the answer is that Neptune radiates more heat than it receives from the sun. In simple terms, it is still releasing internal energy from within. It is not only reacting to sunlight, it is powered by something deeper. And when that energy moves upward through a massive atmosphere of hydrogen, helium, and methane, it does not create peace. It creates fury. That is why Neptune feels so wrong. It breaks the mental picture people naturally have. We expect cold places to be still. We expect darkness to mean inactivity. We expect distance to mean silence. Neptune rejects all of that. It is cold and violent, dark and active, distant and furious. And then there is the color. Neptune's deep blue appearance is one of the most beautiful sights in the solar system. It looks smooth, elegant, almost clean. But that beauty is deceptive. Much of that blue comes from methane in the atmosphere, absorbing red light and reflecting blue back into space. What looks peaceful is really just chemistry, and beneath that beautiful color is a planet with no solid surface at all. That matters more than it seems, because when most people imagine a planet, they imagine ground, some kind of place to stand, mountains, rock, a surface that gives the world shape. Neptune gives you none of that comfort. Like the other giant planets, it is mostly atmosphere over deeper and deeper layers of fluid and exotic matter. If you tried to descend into Neptune, there would be no true landing, no stable arrival. You would move downward through thickening gas, through growing pressure, through increasingly hostile conditions, until the idea of standing on anything stops meaning anything. It is not simply a place you could not survive. It is a place that does not even let you arrive like a human being expects to. And the deeper you go, the stranger it becomes. The upper atmosphere is incredibly cold, among the coldest in the solar system. But below that, pressure rises to unimaginable levels. Scientists believe Neptune's interior contains vast layers of superheated water, ammonia, and methane under conditions so extreme that familiar substances stop behaving in familiar ways. Some researchers have even suggested that Carbon deep inside Neptune may be compressed into diamonds, which then fall downward through the planet like rain. Diamond rain. It sounds beautiful, until you realize what it really means. The pressure is so intense, the environment so alien, that matter itself is being forced into forms that feel almost unreal. On Neptune, beauty and violence are tied together in ways that make the whole planet feel uncanny. And that pattern keeps repeating. Beautiful color, violent weather, elegant distance, brutal physics, calm appearance, chaotic reality. Then there are the storms. When Voyager 2 flew past Neptune in 1989, it captured an enormous storm system called the Great Dark Spot. At first, it seemed like Neptune's version of Jupiter's Great Red Spot. But there was one big difference. Jupiter's storm has lasted for centuries. Neptune's dark storms appear and disappear. They form, drift, change, and vanish. Later, new ones can emerge somewhere else. That makes Neptune feel even less stable. A storm that lasts for centuries is terrifying in one way. But a planet where giant storms are born and erased like temporary scars feels even stranger. It suggests an atmosphere in constant upheaval, always shifting, always rearranging itself, always producing violence and then swallowing the signs of it. These are not static features on a distant world. They are symptoms of instability. Even Neptune's clouds can change rapidly. Bright methane ice clouds form high in the atmosphere and can evolve over short periods of time. They are shaped by powerful updrafts and violent winds that never seem to fully rest. If you could watch Neptune long enough, you would not see a silent blue sphere drifting in darkness. You would see a planet in motion, a system that refuses to settle down. And once you understand that, Neptune stops feeling like a cold outer planet and starts feeling like something far more unsettling. It starts feeling like a machine built for chaos. Its location only adds to that feeling. Neptune sits near the edge of the main planetary system. Beyond it lies the Kuiper Belt, a vast region of icy bodies, dwarf planets, and leftover debris from the early solar system. Neptune is not just another planet. It is a frontier world standing near the boundary between the familiar planets and the deeper darkness beyond. That gives it a strange psychological weight. Jupiter overwhelms with size. Saturn overwhelms with beauty. But Neptune unsettles with isolation. It feels less like part of the solar system we know, and more like the beginning of somewhere else. A colder place, a darker place. A place where human instinct stops being useful. And yet Neptune still refuses to be passive. Even its history feels violent. Its largest moon, Triton, is one of the strangest moons in the solar system. It likely did not form around Neptune in the normal way. Scientists think Neptune captured it. And that capture may have disrupted the entire system, possibly destroying or reshaping earlier moons in the process. Neptune did not simply gather a moon, it may have taken one. And Triton itself makes the story even darker. It orbits Neptune in a backward direction, which is one of the strongest clues that it was captured. Over immense stretches of time, that orbit is expected to slowly decay. One day, very far in the future, Neptune's gravity may pull Triton close enough to tear it apart. If that happens, Neptune could gain a dramatic new ring system made from the remains of its own moon. So even Neptune's future may involve destruction on a grand scale. There is something fitting about that. Neptune is a planet where violence does not always come in the form of explosions. Sometimes it is atmospheric, sometimes gravitational, sometimes spread across millions or billions of years. But it is always there. And maybe that is what makes Neptune so frightening. Not just the speed of its winds, not just the size of its storms, not just the crushing pressure hidden below. What makes Neptune frightening is the contradiction. It looks calm. That is the trap. When people imagine danger in space, they usually imagine fire, heat, impacts, or explosions. They think of places close to the sun, places glowing with obvious violence. Neptune turns that instinct upside down. It shows that some of the most extreme violence in the solar system happens not near the blazing center, but near the frozen edge of its reach. That changes the way you see the planet. No longer as a quiet blue sphere at the end of a diagram, no longer as a distant outer world you memorize and forget, but as a place of relentless motion, hidden heat, temporary giant storms, impossible winds, and crushing depths that no human being will ever truly experience directly. A world that looks calm only because it is too far away for us to feel what it is really doing. So what does all of this mean for us? It means Neptune may be the most violent planet, not because it is the hottest or the largest, but because it combines beauty, distance, mystery, and raw atmospheric aggression in a way no other planet does. It is violence disguised as elegance. It is chaos painted blue. A frozen giant that never truly freezes into stillness. A distant world that should have been quiet but is not. A planet where the atmosphere can outrun sound and where deep inside, matter may be pushed into forms that sound like science fiction. And maybe that is why Neptune stays in your mind once you really understand it, because it does not terrify you in an obvious way. It terrifies you slowly, first with its beauty, then with its distance, then with its contradictions, and finally with the realization that one of the calmest looking worlds in our solar system is hiding some of its most extreme violence. Neptune is not peaceful. It is not sleeping in the dark. It is moving, raging, shifting, crushing, and howling through the outer solar system, where almost no sunlight remains. A blue world wrapped in storms. A cold planet powered by hidden heat. A distant giant that should have been silent, but isn't. And maybe that is the most unsettling part of all. The farther we go into the solar system, the more we expect silence. Neptune reminds us that silence can still contain fury. And sometimes, the most violent planet is the one that looks the most beautiful from far away.